Okay, first time I walked out of the garden. Been here since June 21st. It's the first time I've actually had the energy from COVID to actually walk out. So you can still see the packing boxes. And we've got some play sand there that I'm going to be using in one of the tanks. That was £5 for 15 kilos. And it's just as good. I wouldn't use the sharp sand. I did do a test on it. Too many bits in it. But as I was walking down, I came across this. Now we use this to move a lot of the rocks for the fish tanks, and I looked in here closely. So let's just have a look. And I noticed some very small black fish. Now there is a bit of a glare on this, as you know, but there are fish in here. So that tank that I'm building now, I'm going to get the fish out of there. Now I don't know what they are because they're all black. They could be guppies, but they're live bearers, so I kind of expect them to be something other than guppies. And maybe the eggs were on something, I don't know. But we're going to have a look at that. So let's get the tank built and whoops twilly dee. Okay, so my intention is to mix this, which is purely cosmetic, with this and active soil. This I'm using basically as a filler. That's 8 kilos. That's 8 kilos. I don't think I'll need anywhere near that. I believe 10 kilos, maybe 11 at a push are going to do this. And this is purely if I want to plant anything afterwards. I'm not going to use a carpeting plant. I'm using an Aqua Sky light, so it's not going to be much. But most of the plants I'm going to do are going to be like Anubias and stuff like that. But this one is purely for the aesthetics, and I'll show you that in the last video, okay? Okay, so it's mixed quite well. Remember, the Tetra is basically an active soil. It's a natural thing, and it's very dusty, so you'll need to wash this out. I would personally wash them both out together in a bucket anyway, because even though it says on the Roman one, which is done by a company called Petex, it says ready to use, wash it out anyway, because as they grind together in transit they can cause a lot of dust. I'm not doing that for the purpose of this video, purely because I'm going to be circulating the water in here quite hard, and I'm using a huge filter on this just to clear up the water and make it look nice. The second thing is that always check with the actual material, the ingredients and everything on the back, because this can, I know, I think it's the stratum, can change pH a little bit. It makes it a little bit softer over time because it's a natural soil, similar to peat can. Peat can, if you get like a peat ball or peat moss, that can also do it as well. But this is going to be a good stuff today. As you can see, it's mixed in quite well, and I think we should be ready to go. Have a look in a minute. Okay, well, this camera's probably not doing it justice, but let's have a look. Let's go in here. I kind of like the contrast, the brown, the white, and it's like a resin, so it's not a painted thing. It's looking quite good. Now, first of all, this is 105, Tetra 105. I kind of believe it's probably about 11 kilos of substrate in there. Maybe 10, okay. So obviously that's going to take quite a bit of water out. Now, I believe the brown, which is the Tetra substrate, the active substrate, is probably going to float a little bit. It's very light. It's very dusty, but I'm not worried about the dust because I've already got a cycled filter in there. So I'm just going to blow it around a bit. I'm going to put probably a lot of shrimp in here. I'm trying to get my colony back up. Unfortunately, when we moved, we lost a lot of shrimp. But I've also got wild fish outside, which you saw at the beginning there. So I'm kind of going to get them off the get them out of there, because obviously when the winter comes, they ain't going to survive in that. But all in all, that stuff looks okay. We'll see tomorrow. I'm going to fill it up with water. I'm going to probably use RO water. So I'm going to do it overnight, and then put half and half. That gets me around probably about 200 TDS, or total dissolved solids, which is what I'm going for, so you don't have to remineralise everything. It's not that complicated. So this is looking good. This is the first sort of project I've done since I was been able to breathe again. I must admit, COVID's really knocked me for 6. I didn't expect it to do this. Still get out of breath. So I'm doing everything a little bit slowly. But as you can see, I've still got the taste for the hobby, so it's looking good, guys. I've got a question for you guys. Do you think you can put garden grass into an aquarium and get it to grow? There's obvious drawbacks with that, is the seeds float. So what you'd need to do is mix it in with the gravel and keep the gravel underneath. So that's exactly what I've done. I've put an active soil on the bottom, a tetraactive it's called, and on the top I've put Argos play sand. Give it a good rinse. This is the stuff I'm using. I'm making up that new tank anyway, and I want to see if it works, so stay tuned. Okay, so what we've done now is we've got the gravel, like you know, we've seen already. I've put seeds in, and then I put the sand on top. This is Argos play sand. It's 5 pound, 15 kilos. Wash it thoroughly, and it is good to go. Now, it's a little bit messy at the moment, and it's going to take probably 2 weeks to settle properly. I expect it to go extremely cloudy in there, so I'm going to get a big filter, probably a 4 in there, U4, and I'm also going to see how these seeds germinate, because I've been told they will take approximately 2 weeks. Now in that 2 weeks, a lot of them are going to float to the surface, so I'm going to see how they go. It should be quite interesting. I've also got some other plants I'm going to put in there, some Anubias from the other tank, and I'm now making sure the filter's going right. I'm going to be running a 100 watt heater by Eheim, and I believe I'm going to be running a Tetra APS 150 like we discussed earlier, and that'll be done on a sponge filter, just a small sponge filter. I'm probably going to run a bigger filter later on just to see how that goes, and then cut out the U series. But at the moment, as you can see, it's quite a deep bed. If I do that, it's probably about 2.5, 3 inches. I always do that, and I think it's the best way forward. And we're going to see how these plants grow. So what's the next step? Right, the next steps for the tank is we're going to take that off. We're going to use the netting like I had before, the jump guard. I had to order some bits, and I'm going to probably try and run a tidal 55 on there, see how we get on with that as well, just to see how it works. So I'll keep you posted. Okay, when you get to sort of that sort of limit on the water, you probably want to start putting equipment in. I'm going to be looking at a couple of options on heaters, and I'm going to be looking at 2 types of filtration rather than 2 types of filter. My favourite is Fluval for internal, but I'm also going to look at sponge. I've got a nice AP 150 from Tetra, which is whisper quiet apparently, so we're going to check that as well. Let's see what happens. The old saucer, that's quite a good idea to stop it all disturbing everything, but we'll see how it goes.